my makeup pride style, and while I do my makeup pride style, I'm going to answer some questions that you guys asked me on Instagram, so let's go. Okay, this angle is a little bit better, and I like tidied my desk a little bit. I feel like my desk area is so cute. I really want to do like a little, like a desk tour, but I just have like all of this like lovely artwork. The artwork is either mine, it was made for me, or I bought it, which is kind of the only 3 options you can have for artwork. And then I have my desk pad, which is full of post-it notes of things that I need to do, which I just haven't done. Anyway, took a little snack break before I even began, which is fine. You know, we're all allowed to have lunch. Okay, I have my water to do my eyeliner with because I use water activated eyeliner, and then tissue just to wipe the brush. And then I also have actual water to drink, so while I have this drink, you go make yourself a drink. How are we gonna begin? Ignore the fact that like I've just got like all of my makeup in this tub. I'm quite clearly very aesthetically pleasing, and I love just having everything so organised. We are going to begin with my foundation. I'm just going to use my NYX Bear With Me Blur. And the first question I'm going to start with is a very fun question, which was, what made you start wearing mismatch Converse? I just one day was like, both my black and pink Converse go with this outfit, and I couldn't decide which ones to wear. So I just wore them both. And then I was like, I freaking love wearing odd shoes. So now I just wear odd shoes regularly. I don't actually use a brush or a sponge when it comes to doing my foundation. I definitely should, but these are free brushes. I also need to open my window. I had my window closed because it was so noisy, but my apartment is quite literally 30 degrees and I can't deal with it. And anybody in America, if you use Fahrenheit, 30 degrees is like 80, is what I think is like the equivalent. Okay, so I don't actually do foundation over my whole entire face. I just do it like on my eye area. I have all my questions written down in this like cute little notebook. The next question is, what is your favourite thing about being autistic? I don't know. I'm not actually sure what my favourite thing about being autistic is, but I think something that I do like about being autistic is that I see things from a different perspective. In terms of when I'm talking to like neurotypical people, I look at all the tiny little details as opposed to just the big picture, which is what most neurotypical people do. And I also really enjoy like that I'm a planner. I plan things meticulously. That's also an ADHD thing. I get the dopamine from the planning. It's just the doing the plan that I struggle with. Another question I got was for any advice to feel confident in your body, especially for someone who is feeling like quite insecure in the way that they look. It's really difficult because everybody is different and not everyone will have the same types of issues and the same types of insecurities as other people, and it's hard to kind of say this will make you feel more confident, this will make you feel more confident, because it might not, and I don't want to give advice that you're gonna then follow and be like, babe, that just did not work. And this in no way is me saying that I feel confident all the time. I do not. Like 8 out of 10 times I feel like absolute garbage about the way that I look. But the one thing that helps me is to look at my body in a neutral way. I tend to not try and look in the mirror and be like, I love this, I love this, I love this, because I find that really difficult and I can't actually do that a lot of the time. So I like to be neutral, and I say, you know, this body part is this way because of this, and this helps me do this. For example, an insecurity of mine, like one of my biggest insecurities, is my arms, and it's always been an insecurity ever since I was younger. I just really don't like my arms, and so now when I look in the mirror I have negative thoughts about my arms, and instead of like going with those negative thoughts, I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, my arms are this way and that's fine. My arms are okay to look like this. My arms are strong. My arms help me do certain moves in pole. My arms help me carry my 24 crate of Pepsi Max home from Tesco. Just little things like that, that you are acknowledging what your body can do and what your body does for you in terms of the way that it looks being the least important thing about it. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me because I know that it works for me, and I do feel a little bit more confident and stuff, and I feel like dressing the way that I want to dress and doing my makeup the way that I want to do my makeup, and not kind of changing my appearance and my aesthetic for the pleasure of other people, has really helped bring out my confidence a lot as well. So now I don't feel as insecure in myself because I know that I look the way that I want to look. I know that I'm wearing something that makes me feel good, and that's what's important. It's important how I feel and what I think, and other people's opinions of me are none of my business. Right, we're gonna move on to my eyebrows. My eyebrows are brown, but I like to have them pink. I have debated dyeing them, but I'm just too scared to bleach my eyebrows. We're gonna use my James Charles palette, which is extremely old. It's probably out of date. Yeah, it's like, oh, you can only keep it for 12 months. I've had this for years. And can you tell which one I use the most? It's the pink one. The next question was again another advice question, which was advice for feeling more comfortable and less anxious in crowds or at concerts and stuff like that. This tip is going to come from an anxious autistic ADHDer. So if you are not an anxious autistic ADHDer, these tips may not apply to you. But if you are, they may also not apply to you. But I hope that they do. But for me, I find concerts especially, so I get really overstimulated in concerts and gigs and things, and it's more prominent when I'm at a gig that I don't want to be at, and that's because the level of dopamine that I get from being there is lower, and then my tolerance for everything else is also lower because I already don't want to be there. So then my anxiety is heightened, my sensitivities to light and sound is heightened, and when I'm at a concert that I do want to be at, or at a concert or gig that I'm excited to be at, I still feel these things, I just don't feel them as strongly. That's not to say that that happens all the time. Like sometimes I can go to a gig for a band that I really want to see and it is just too much and I need to leave, which is what happened when I went watching Grayscale with Jack. I needed to leave because I just did not feel comfortable or feel okay whilst I was there. But what helps me is I take 2 sets of ear defenders. So I'll have my loops, which are noise reduction, and I'll have them in, and then I also have my overhead ear defenders as well on top, so this way the noise is not as bad. I find that when I do this, I don't get the booming sensation, and I don't know if anyone else will be able to know what I mean by that, but when you're at a concert or a gig and the music is playing, you can feel it inside and you feel the vibrations, but when I wear my ear defenders, I don't get that extra vibration feeling. Another tip is to find out before you go to the venue if they have an accessible area that you can go to. A lot of gigs, they will have a designated area for disabled people, and you are entitled to go there if you need to. There's also different areas of the venue that you can go that are a little bit quieter or a little bit less kind of chaotic and hectic. So obviously the front and the middle is going to be the most chaotic. You're going to have a more difficult time if you're at the front or in the middle because there's going to be more people. You're going to be more crowded and jammed in. So if you want to stand off to the side or at the back, you can still experience the concert that you're at without feeling too much pressure to be in an abundant group of people. Does that make sense? And then your usual tips of staying hydrated, make sure you've got something to drink with you, and then take breaks. If you need to go and stand outside for a little, that's completely okay. You are entitled to do that. And that's my eyebrows done. And now for the fun part, which is the actual fun makeup bit. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to recreate the look I did on Thursday for my photo shoot, which was clouds with rainbow and stuff, and it was really cute. I loved it so much, so I'm going to try and recreate that again. If I can't do it the same way, I'm just gonna cry. Whenever I try and do a look again, it doesn't ever go the same way. But I'm just gonna tie my hair up to get it out of the way. I'm just gonna use my Glistens Cosmetics Water Activated Eyeliner Palette. So this next question I got, and I was gonna ignore it, I wasn't gonna answer it because I don't feel like it's the answer people want or the answer people are gonna be looking for. But I have to be honest, and I'm gonna answer it as best I can in the least triggering way possible. So the question was, do you feel like you are fully recovered from your eating disorder? And the short answer, no, I do not. I still have days very often when I have extremely loud eating disorder thoughts. I still have days where I feel like I just want to revert back. It's a hard, long journey, and I've suffered with an eating disorder since I was 9 years old, so that's 20 years. And it is extremely difficult to look at myself in the mirror and be happy with the way that I look. It is, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it isn't. Sometimes I do look in the mirror and I think, I'm so proud of myself, I'm so happy, I look great, I look good, I think that this is amazing, it's the best decision I ever made. And I think that a lot of the time, and I do really appreciate how far I've come in my recovery, and I am super proud of myself. But that's not to say that I don't have the thoughts, I don't have days when I have tiny slip-ups and then cry about it in the evening because I'm like, oh no, I'm reverting back, when I'm not. I haven't relapsed for a very long time, which is a really amazing thing, but that's not to say I haven't had little lapses here and there, because I have, and they've been hard to like deal with, and I'm not very public about them because I don't want other people to think, oh well, you know, recovery is not worth it or anything like that, because that's not the case at all. Like, recovery is the single most amazing thing that I ever did, and I'm so glad that I did it. But yeah, some days are still really, really difficult. Following on from that question, the next question is your favourite thing about recovery, and honestly it's the food freedom. The freedom to just eat whatever I want, whenever I want to. I'm able to enjoy ice cream and brownies, and I'm able to enjoy pizza with my friends and go for sushi and just feel free in the fact that I am allowed to do this, and my brain now knows that I'm allowed to do this, and that's possibly the most amazing feeling in the world. And also the feeling of food not being the main source of an event. So for example, if I'm going for sushi with somebody, like if me and Jack for example are going for sushi, that isn't the main source of the event, is not the food, it's us hanging out together, and the food is just secondary to that. And before I started recovery, food was always at the forefront, and now food isn't at the forefront, and I think that that is something that you don't even realise is slowly happening throughout your recovery, until one day you kind of just sat like eating an ice cream and you're not even thinking about it, you're not even kind of thinking about what you're doing, and it's just such a wonderful feeling to like have and also not have, if that makes sense. Trying to do this in like a tiny little mirror down here is very difficult. Yeah, I think that's enough clouds. So the next question is, how did you learn to do funky makeup? And honestly, I didn't like learn to do funky makeup. I like experimenting, and I like being creative. Art makes me really happy. So the way that I see it is like, I'm not very good at makeup, but I enjoy being creative and having creative freedom. And so when I do fun makeup looks, it's not a case of it looking good or bad, it's just a case of it looking different and not the norm. And so people don't really interpret it as looking bad, if that makes sense. Like, I could make a bunch of mistakes, like I have made so many mistakes on these clouds, but I know that, you don't know that. Whereas if it was just like a simple winged eyeliner, you know if someone's made a mistake on their winged eyeliner. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of feels like nobody is bad at doing creative makeup. You just have to have the confidence in yourself to be like, I don't care, I think it looks good, so therefore it looks good. We're just gonna do a little rainbow over here somewhere. So I'm just doing like tiny little lines, and then I'm gonna go back over the cloud so it looks like the rainbow is behind the cloud. I think it looks really cute. I don't have red. The palette doesn't come with red, so we ignore the fact that my rainbow is redless. I'm just gonna take my white again and then go over and just extend the clouds up here. Cute, right? And then I'm gonna do a little sun on this side. Next question I got was, is it hard to sit down when you have ADHD? And I feel like this is such a common misconception. It's not hard to sit down, it's just hard to stay sat down and stay still, because we fidget a lot and constantly feeling the need and the urge to get up and move your body and things. The way I describe it is I constantly feel like my body is static, and if I'm not moving, the static is really tingly and uncomfortable, and so I need to move and like get out the excess static in order to not feel uncomfortable, which is like really frustrating when you're in places when you're not allowed to move about, so you have to sit down, so then you can't concentrate on what's going on that you're needing to be sat down for because you're too busy in your head thinking about how you need to move. Okay, we're gonna do a little sun. That sun is cute as hell. But I got asked about sayings and how I don't understand like idioms and things, and it's not that I don't understand them. Like, I'm a very literal person, and at first when I hear an idiom I do take it quite literally. When it's explained to me, it's then more so the fact that I don't understand the point of them, and they often don't make sense. So for example, that you can't have your cake and eat it. Like, why would I buy a cake and not eat it? It doesn't make sense. And I understand it's kind of saying like you can't have like 2 of something, like you need to like make a choice or whatever, but it still doesn't make sense, because if I buy a cake, why would I not want to eat the cake? Why would I just want to look at the cake? Like, I would obviously want to eat the cake. One literal thing was the idiom that is walk a mile in my shoes. I genuinely dead ass thought that that meant that you would walk a mile in someone's shoes, and I'm like, but what if we don't have the same size feet? What if I don't like your shoes? Where are we going? Why can't I just walk a mile at the side of you? And then when it was explained to me, it's like, oh no, so it's like you see what their life is like and stuff like that. But I'm thinking like, but why do I need to walk a mile to do that? Like, why can't like they just tell me? Do you know? I'm not going to put anything on my actual eyes. I don't want to put any mascara on or anything, just because my eyes are feeling really sensitive today. So this is the finished look. I think it turned out really super good. It's not as good as it was last time, but that's fine. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I think it looks really sweet and I like it. I like it a lot. I hope that this video was somewhat informative and you learned a little bit about me and my sort of opinions on things and whatnot. And I will see you next time. Bye.